Get ready for a quick quest guide for the Current Affairs quest, in which the main rewards for completing are the ability to charter currents, the Mayor of Catherby fish, 1400 sailing XP, 1000 fishing XP, and 1 quest point. You'll need to have completed the Pandemonium quest before taking on this one, and in terms of skills you'll need to have 22 sailing and 10 fishing. Then when it comes to items you'll simply need 50 coins, and there aren't any items that I'd recommend, though note that you'll also want 2 empty inventory spaces at the quest start. Additionally, for this quest you'll want to have a boat docked at Catherby. If needed, then you can right click on Shipwright Sophie at the Catherby docks and select Recover Boat, which gives you the option to move your boat to Catherby for a small fee. However, note that this will also see you lose everything in your boat's cargo hold. Now you can begin this quest at the Catherby docks, which is easily reached by sailing there or using a Camelot teleport before running southeast. To start the quest, right click and talk to Arhine on the docks, and firstly ask, "What's with the duck?" And then after some more chatter, select yes to officially begin the Current Affairs quest. Now run northeast and head into the building behind the fletching store, where you'll find Catherine, who won't let ducks work. Talk to Catherine and then continue through the chat with her to obtain a form. And when the chat ends, search the cabinet just to your northeast to obtain some charcoal. Charcoal obtained, select to fill in your form, and note that while technically you can answer any way you like, you'll need to resubmit these answers later, and because of this, I'd highly suggest just choosing option 1 for everything to make your life easier down the track. So firstly pick pleasure, then 0, then cargo spillage, then no, then partial, then yes to say you have the plague, followed by less than a month, and finally Varrock. Once your form's been filled, right click it and select to use it on Catherine before continuing through the chat with her. When the chat finishes, exit the building and then run southwest back to Arhine on the docks. Talk to Arhine and then say, "I need to find the Mayor of Catherby," to learn that the mayor is secretly a fish that sadly passed away a few days ago that needs to be replaced. When the chat ends, run east and head into the fishing shop, and then after arriving, talk to Harry inside. Firstly say, "I'm here about the mayor," and then after some chatter, select yes to buy a special fishbowl and net from him before finishing off the chat. Following this, select to fish in either of the aquariums along the western wall of the shop to add the Mayor of Catherby to your fishbowl. Then you can drop the tiny net, exit the fishing shop, and run west to Arhine at the docks. Now talk to Arhine and firstly select About the Mayor, and then continue through the chat with him. Once it ends, run northeast and head back into Catherine's office behind the ranging shop. Now talk to Catherine, and after some chatter, you'll need to select the answers that match what you put in the form previously. Provided you selected option 1 for everything, you'll want to answer with pleasure, then 0, then cargo spillage, then no, then partial, then yes to say you have the plague, followed by less than a month, and finally Varrock. And after relaying all that info, just continue through the chat to obtain another form. When the chat ends, use your form on the Mayor of Catherby to have the fish sign it. And afterwards use the form on Catherine once again and go through the short chat. Next, you'll want to exit the building and run southwest to Arhine on the docks. Talk to Arhine and begin by saying, "The bylaw has been changed," and then go through the chat to obtain a current duck. Now that you're all ducked up, run south and then a little west on the docks before selecting board on the gangplank to board your boat. And once you're on it, the first thing you'll want to do is select to navigate the helm and then sail east and a tiny bit north, whereby you'll come across a ripple in the water along the shore of the island with the water obelisk. Park your boat on top of the ripple in the water, and then click on your current duck and select track current to release it into the water. Now that the duck's out, you'll want to follow it as it travels a little south, then west for a while, before the duck then heads south along the west coast of Entrana for a bit. Stick nice and close to your ducky, which will have a flashing arrow icon over it, and continue staying close to the duck until it comes to a stop at the small island just southwest of Entrana. Now stop your boat nearby to the ducky before clicking on it and choosing to collect it, which will successfully chart the current. Following this, simply select to navigate your ship's helm and then sail north for a while all the way back to the Catherby docks, before then choosing to disembark on the gangplank. Once you're back on the dock, run a tad east and then north back to Arheim before talking to him. Firstly say, "I've charted the currents," and then just continue through the chat before bam, quest complete. You'll be awarded the ability to charter currents, the Mayor of Catherby fish, 1400 sailing XP, 1000 fishing XP, and 1 quest point. Thanks so much for watching, catch you in the next quest.